This is absolutely unbelievable. Seth Rollins, the man who has spent over a decade defining himself as the architect, the master manipulator, and a fiercely independent competitor, has done something nobody thought was possible. He reunited with Roman Reigns, the man he once betrayed, and joined forces with him in the bloodline. This is the same Roman Reigns who embodies authority, dominance, and the very power structure Seth has long resisted. And what makes this alliance truly shocking is the timing. It comes after Seth suffered one of the most devastating setbacks of his career, a betrayal that left him questioning everything he believed about loyalty, trust, and survival in WWE. Seth's vulnerability Raw opened with Seth Rollins in the ring, visibly bruised and still recovering from the previous week's attack. The injuries weren't just physical, they reflected the emotional weight Seth had been carrying for years. He grabbed a microphone and began to speak, his words raw, honest, and filled with emotion. Seth admitted that for years he had tried to prove he could do everything on his own, that he could succeed without relying on anyone else. But that mindset had its cost. The betrayal he experienced had forced him to see the harsh reality. Loyalty in WWE is fragile, and survival often requires aligning with strength, even if it means swallowing pride. Lessons learned. Seth explained to the audience how his past decisions, including the betrayal of the Shield in 2014, had haunted him. He revealed that every alliance he formed afterward was colored by suspicion, every friendship questioned, and every partnership tested. "I've been carrying the weight of my choices for 10 years, he said, and it's made me paranoid, isolated, and vulnerable." But the attack he suffered opened his eyes to a harsh truth. Power and strategy matter more than ego or ideals. In WWE's competitive landscape, those who can't adapt risk being left behind. The decision to join Seth's reflection transitioned from introspection to determination. He realized that Roman Reigns had been right all along. Success in WWE is about family, strength, and aligning with people who are not motivated by friendship, but by shared purpose. After experiencing firsthand what betrayal looks like, Seth understood that the safest path forward was to work with Roman, not against him. In the ring, he addressed Roman directly, acknowledging their tumultuous history and asking for acceptance, not as an equal, not as a leader, but as someone willing to learn and follow. The crowd was stunned into silence, hanging on every word, trying to comprehend what was about to unfold. Roman's entrance, and then Roman Reigns' music hit. The tribal chief appeared, calm and commanding, walking slowly to the ring, letting the tension build with each step. This wasn't a moment of forgiveness. It was a calculated display of authority. Roman faced Seth, his presence a reminder of years of rivalry, betrayal, and unresolved tension. He challenged Seth directly, stating bluntly that Seth wasn't there because he had learned anything profound about loyalty. He was there out of necessity. Seth had been humbled by circumstance, and Roman wanted it understood that respect had to be earned through usefulness, not apologies. Terms of alliance. Roman's acceptance of Seth was not warm, it was pragmatic. He made it clear that this wasn't about friendship or reconciliation. It was a professional arrangement, an acknowledgement of skill and strategic value. Roman emphasized that Seth would follow his lead and respect his authority, and in return, Seth would be granted a position in the bloodline. It was a handshake that symbolized submission, cooperation, and a shift in the WWE hierarchy. Seth's pride may have been bruised, but his acceptance signaled a recognition that alignment with Roman offered protection, strategy, and a path to influence he could no longer reach on his own. The bloodline reacts. The original members of the bloodline, Jey and Jimmy Uso, followed Roman into the ring. Their reactions were a mix of curiosity, caution, and acknowledgement. Jey, having experienced manipulation and reconciliation under Roman's guidance, understood the complicated nature of Seth's inclusion. Jimmy, pragmatic and observant, accepted the move while remaining vigilant for potential future betrayals. Together, the four men stood united, a visual testament to Roman's control and strategic thinking. Seth, once the man who dismantled the Shield, was now part of a structure he had resisted for years. The betrayal that drove him. The story behind Seth's decision is crucial. The previous week, he had been betrayed by a group of allies he trusted. They targeted him in a backstage attack, leaving him vulnerable and reconsidering his own approach to alliances. This experience shattered his confidence and taught him that mutual respect alone wasn't enough to survive in WWE. The realization that power and authority drive loyalty reshaped Seth's understanding of relationships and survival in the industry. Aligning with Roman became not a choice of friendship, but a necessary strategy to maintain relevance and influence. Roman's motivation. Why would Roman accept Seth after years of betrayal? The answer lies in strategy, skill, and validation. Seth Rollins is a master tactician, an elite in-ring performer, and a psychological operator. His presence strengthens the bloodline, adds versatility, and enhances their dominance. On another level, having Seth submit to his authority validates Roman's leadership, proving that even the most independent and cunning competitors recognize his superiority. It sends a clear message to the entire roster. Roman's vision and control are absolute. Anyone can be incorporated under his leadership, if they are willing to acknowledge his authority. Locker room reactions. Backstage reactions have been mixed. Some wrestlers see Seth's decision as pragmatic, understanding that aligning with Roman ensures security, opportunity, and protection in WWE's competitive landscape. Others view it as a sellout, interpreting Seth's submission as a betrayal of everything he once represented. High-profile names, including Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, reportedly reacted strongly, questioning Seth's motives and loyalty. The USO's reactions were particularly nuanced, balancing loyalty to family with skepticism about Seth's intentions. The division in opinions underscores the gravity and impact of this storyline. Negotiations and strategy. Backstage reports indicate that the reunion was not spontaneous. Seth and Roman engaged in private discussions following his betrayal. Initially, Roman refused, emphasizing his authority and testing Seth's commitment. Paul Heyman played a critical role, convincing Roman to consider the strategic advantages of bringing Seth into the fold. Seth had to publicly and privately demonstrate loyalty, acknowledge past mistakes, and agree to a one-sided arrangement favoring Roman's control. This careful negotiation highlights the calculated nature of WWE storytelling and adds depth to both characters' arcs. Storyline implications. Seth joining the Bloodline reshapes the WWE landscape. The faction's power increases, forcing babyface competitors to consider new alliances and strategies. The storyline opens opportunities for complex rivalries, unexpected matches, and long-term narratives exploring loyalty, authority, and ambition. It also redefines Seth's character arc, shifting him from independent, self-serving architect to a subordinate within a dominant faction. How he navigates authority, retains his identity, and potentially challenges Roman in the future creates fertile ground for storytelling over months or even years. Fan reactions. Social media erupted immediately. Fans are divided. Some are thrilled by the strategic depth and unexpected nature of the reunion, seeing potential for exciting matchups and storytelling. Others feel betrayed, believing Seth's character has abandoned his ideals. A third segment remains skeptical, questioning the plausibility of the alliance. The strong reactions highlight the emotional investment fans have in the Shield, the Bloodline, and Seth Rollins' character development. This angle is not just entertainment. It's a conversation starter, forcing viewers to analyze motivations, strategy, and legacy.